Hello, welcome back to a chapter a day. Happy Sunday, first day of a new week. And we are moving on to 2 Samuel chapter 19 today. Yesterday, we saw David getting the news of Absalom, his son, being killed because of his hair being hooked up in the tree by the branches. Because remember, they said he had so much hair that when he weighed it, it came into over 200 shekels or something. It was a lot of hair he had, and he may have had it all bundled up. So it hooked up in a branch of a tree while he was riding his mule, trying to get away from from David's army. And one of the servants of David saw him when he was caught in the tree, and he told Joab, which is the captain of the army, of David's army. Joab asked, "Why didn't you kill him?" And the guy said, "Well, no, he's the king's son, and the king specifically told us not to." So Joab did the job himself, and his soldiers finished off Absalom. They threw him in a pit, buried him, piled some stones on top of it, and then two of the servants, Cushi and Ahimaz, I think, went on to tell David and give David the news. And David, of course, was not happy. He wept. He mourned Absalom. He said he wished he had died in the place of Absalom. Let's see how that goes. Chapter 19. And it was told Joab, "Behold, the king weepeth and mourneth for Absalom." And the victory that day was turned into mourning unto all the people. For the people heard say that day how the king was grieved for his son. And the people got them up by stealth that night. Got them by stealth that night into the city, as being people ashamed to steal away when they flee into battle. But the king covered his face, and the king cried with a loud voice, "Oh, my son, Absalom! Oh, Absalom, my son, my son!" And Joab came into the house to the king and said, "Thou hast shamed this day the faces of all thy servants, which this day have saved thy life, and the lives of thy sons and of thy daughters, and the lives of thy wives, and the lives of thy concubines." Okay. So David is mourning. The people are feeling really badly. They even ran away from the city because they feel so guilty that they have been in a battle against the king's son, and now the king's son is dead, and he is so unhappy and mourning. So they feeling badly. He's crying out Absalom's name. Joab comes to him and says, "You know what, man? You have turned a victory into a defeat. You have shamed the people. You make them feel bad after they have saved your life, the lives of your sons, daughters, wives, and concubines. Here you are, making them feel badly." Verse 6, "In that thou lovest thine enemies and hatest thy friends, for thou hast declared this day that thou regardest neither princes nor servants. For this day I perceive that if Absalom had lived and all we had died this day, then it had pleased thee well. Now therefore arise, go forth and speak comfortably unto thy servants. For I swear by the Lord, if thou go not forth, there will not tarry one with thee this night, and that will be worse unto thee than all the evil that befell thee from thy youth until now." Then the king arose and sat in the gate. And they told unto all the people, saying, "Behold, the king doth sit in the gate." And all the people came before the king, for Israel had fled every man to his tent. And all the people were at strife throughout all the tribes of Israel, saying, "The king saved us out of the hand of our enemies, and he delivered us out of the hand of the Philistines. And now he is fled out of the land for Absalom. And Absalom, whom we anointed over us, is dead in battle. Now therefore, why speak ye not a word of bringing the king back?" Gosh, so the whole place is in turmoil. The whole city of David is in turmoil. The Israelites that were fighting on behalf of Absalom ran back to where they were, where Absalom was staying. Then you have David's people where he is, and now that Joab has told him, "Hey, you need to stop this nonsense. It seems like you preferred if we died rather than Absalom. Absalom was your enemy. He was your son, but he was also your enemy. And now that he is dead, you're here mourning him while the people are feeling badly. And it's just, you have to stop this, or else everyone is going to leave you. And you're going to end up worse off than before. So apparently he listened, and he got up and he went and he sat in the gate. And people said, hey, the king is sitting in the gate. He had to run from Absalom. Absalom is dead. Now the king is back. We need to start thinking of reinstating the king. Verse 11, and King David sent to Zadok and to Abiathar the priest, saying, speak unto the elders of Judah, saying, why are ye the last to bring the king back to his house? Seeing the speech of all Israel is come to the king, even to his house. You are my brethren, you are my bones and my flesh. Wherefore then are ye the last to bring back the king? And say ye to Amasa, art thou not of my bone and of my flesh? God do so to me and more also, if thou be not captain of the host before me continually in the room of Joab. And he bowed the heart of all the men of Judah, even as the heart of one man, so that they sent this word unto the king, return thou and all thy servants. So the king returned and came to Jordan, and Judah came to Gilgal to go to meet the king, to conduct the king over Jordan. My gosh. Whew. So David sent to the priest and asked them, hey, how come it is that you all from Judah, because remember Judah was separated from the rest of the 11 tribes of Israel. So David belonged to that tribe of Judah. So he's asking the priest, how come it is y'all haven't reinstated me yet? How come y'all are the last ones to acknowledge that I am king? And he sent to Amasa, who was Absalom's captain, and told him, you are like my kid. You are my kin, because they were cousins, I believe. And I'm going to put you in place of Joab. You will be continually mine. He will now make him the captain instead of Joab. I guess maybe he's becoming distrustful of Joab. Joab, I think, just came out right and told him what is what. Hey, it's time for you to stop this. Joab was also the one who had him recall Absalom to come before him, because Absalom burned down Joab's field anyway. But, I guess people never like you to correct them. They tend to disdain you when you set them straight. Verse 16. And Shimei, the son of Gera, a Benjamite, which was of Bahurim, hasted and came down with the men of Judah to meet King David. And there were 1,000 men of Benjamin with him, and Ziba, the servant of the house of Saul, and his 15 sons and his 20 servants with him. And they went over Jordan before the king. And there went over a ferry boat to carry over the king's household, and to do what he thought good. And Shimei, the son of Gera, fell down before the king as he was come over Jordan, and said unto the king, let not my lord impute iniquity unto me, neither do thou remember that which thy servant did perversely the day that my lord the king went out of Jerusalem, that the king should take it to his heart. For thy servant doth know that I have sinned. Therefore, behold, I am come the first this day of all the house of Joseph, to go down to meet my lord the king. Okay. So the men of Judah came eventually to bring the king back over to the city where he was previously dwelling. And also there came some other men to represent some of the other tribes, including that man who was throwing stones at them and yelling curses when they were passing through to go over Jordan the first time. Yeah, he came back now repentantly. He's not cursing and throwing stones anymore. He's asking for forgiveness. So let's see what David does. Verse 21. But Abishai, the son of Zeruiah, answered and said, shall not Shimei be put to death for this? Because he cursed the Lord's anointed. And David said, what have I to do with you, you sons of Zeruiah, that you should this day be adversaries unto me? Shall there any man be put to death this day in Israel? For do not I know that I am this day king over Israel? Therefore the king said unto Shimei, Thou shalt not die. And the king sware unto him. And Mephibosheth the son of Saul came down to meet the king, and had neither dressed his feet, nor trimmed his beard, nor washed his clothes from the day the king departed until the day he came again in peace. And it came to pass, when he was come to Jerusalem to meet the king, that the king said unto him, Wherefore wentest not thou with me, Mephibosheth? And he answered, My lord, O king, my servant deceived me. For thy servant said, I will saddle me an ass, that I may ride thereon, and go to the king, because thy servant is lame. And he had slandered thy servant unto my lord the king. But my lord the king is as an angel of God. Do therefore what is good in thine eyes. For all of my father's house were but dead men before my lord the king. Yet didst thou set thy servant among them that did eat at thine own table. What right therefore have I yet to cry any more unto the king? And the king said unto him, Why speakest thou any more of thy matters? I have said, Thou and Ziba divide the land. And Mephibosheth said unto the king, Yea, let him take all, forasmuch as my lord the king is come again in peace unto his own house. Oh boy. Whew. So I can tell David may be he's just weary now. You know, I mean, he's old, he's been chased, he's been running, his life is on the line. So now he has, what's his name? Mephibosheth, which is Jonathan, his friend's son, Saul's grandson, come to him to let him know that, hey, what Ziba came and said is lies. Ziba was telling you lies about me. And David said, well, I told Ziba for you and him to divide the land. Mephibosheth said, let him have it all, because I am just happy that you came back safely. So, mercy. It's all a upheaval. Everything is in a mess. Verse 31. And Barzillai the Gileadite came down from Rogelim and went over Jordan with the king to conduct him over Jordan. Now Barzillai was a very aged man, even 80 years old, and he provided the king of sustenance while he lay at Mahanaim, for he was a very great man. And the king said unto Barzillai, Come thou over with me, and I will feed thee with me in Jerusalem. And Barzillai said unto the king, How long have I to live, that I should go up with the king unto Jerusalem? I am this day 80 years old, and can I discern between good and evil? Can thy servant taste what I eat or what I drink? Can I hear any more the voice of singing men and singing women? Wherefore then should thy servant be yet a burden unto my lord the king? So this man by the name of Barzillai, who was a very good provider for the king while he was in hiding, he's asking him to come over with him back into the city. And Barzillai said, I'm already 80 years old. You know, what can I do? I mean, really and truly, I am just ready to lay down. You know, I can barely hear or see, maybe, you know, as you get older. So he said to him, he would just be a burden to the king. One thing with David, he honors the people who helped him. He really does. He doesn't forget them. He doesn't leave them out. Verse 36. Thy servant will go a little way over Jordan with the king, and why should the king recompense me with such a reward? Let thy servant, I pray thee, turn back again, that I may die in mine own city, and be buried by the grave of my father and of my mother. But behold, thy servant Chimham, let him go over with my lord the king, and do to him what shall seem good unto thee. And the king answered, Chimham shall go over with me, and I will do to him that which shall seem good unto thee. And whatsoever thou shalt require of me, that will I do for thee. And all the people went over Jordan, and when the king was come over, the king kissed Barzillai and blessed him, and he returned unto his own place. Then the king went on to Gilgal, and Chimham went on with him. And all the people of Judah conducted the king, and also half the people of Israel. So instead of Barzillai going over, he told David he will send his servant with him, and the servant went over with David and gave to, treated Chimham, I guess, as if he were in place of Barzillai. He kissed Barzillai, blessed him, and they returned to their own place. So all the people of Judah and all the half of Israel, because everybody didn't want to still reinstate David as king, they followed him back to the city. Verse 41, and behold, all the men of Israel came to the king and said unto the king, why have our brethren the men of Judah stolen thee away, and have brought the king and his household and all David's men with him over Jordan? And all the men of Judah answered the men of Israel, because the king is near of kin to us. Wherefore then be ye angry for us this matter? Have we eaten at all of the king's cost, or hath he given us any gift? And the men of Israel answered the men of Judah and said, we have 10 parts in the king, and we have also more right in David than ye. Why then did you despise us, that our advice should not be first had in bringing back our king? And the words of the men of Judah were fiercer than the words of the men of Israel. So now they're arguing who was responsible for bringing back the king or not telling. The other said that they were bringing back the king, all sorts of confusion. And remember, the tribes, they are all the same Israelites, okay? The men of Judah, that's one tribe, and then you have all the 11 of Israel. Everyone did not consent for David to be king, so you have a division, and the men are arguing among themselves as to who has a right to have had David reinstated, first of all. Oh my gosh, that's the end of chapter 19. I tell you, sometimes, you know what, as you get older, you don't want confusion. You just get weary with people to start with people's foolish behaviors and all of this arguing and fussing and fighting. And I think that's where David is at this moment. But he is just resolving, you know what, whatever they do, they reinstate me, they don't reinstate me, I'm just gonna finish up my time, and God knows when or what. And that's the end of our reading for today. Not too much taking place, just a lot of red tape, as we would say, to reinstate David after Absalom has died. It's a terrible thing, but remember what God said. God's word will always come to pass. So let's remember that and keep listening, because faith comes by hearing God's word. Take care. Bye.